Welcome to the Stress Free Dentist Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Block. As always, I want to inspire, entertain, and educate you on the best tools and technologies out there. My goal is to help make your practice and career more profitable, efficient, and most importantly, more enjoyable. And check out all of my nonfiction and children's books on Amazon, and check out the stressfreedentist.com for any upcoming events. And if you're feeling you're a dental professional that's burnt out, or you just feel stuck or want to get to that next level, visit the International Academy of Dental Life Coaches or www.iadlc.com, and we'll get you matched up with a life coach that understands dentistry. I also wanted to thank our amazing sponsor, Ekwa Marketing. They have helped me and my practice over the years to improve with SEO and website performance. And to find out how you can make your practice dominate in your area, go to www.equa.com/MSMSFD to book your complimentary meeting. Again, that's www.ekwa.com/MSMSFD. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. And today I am joined by Ryan Davies. He is the digital marketing advisor for Ekwa Marketing. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This will be a fun conversation. Good to be back talking with you again.
Yeah, and I want to find all about content marketing. In fact, the title of this episode is An Introduction to Content Marketing for Dental Practices. Can you first explain exactly what does that mean, content marketing?
Absolutely. So, content marketing really comes to play in the digital marketing space around what content or what you create to help educate patients about what you do, about the services themselves, and really who you are, introducing them to you from that standpoint. So, creating content, we'll talk about the different types of content, but it's around, blogs and articles and videos and using testimonials and reviews and things like that, and then how to actually optimize it properly. So the content that you want to create is again focused on not just, hey, here's what the service is and here's what it does, but here's why I choose to do it. Here's what makes me stand out about this. Here's what kind of gives me a personal brand to it, and that content is really important to help differentiate you from the rest of the field.
And why is that so important, especially with digital marketing for dentists and the role that content marketing plays? Is it to get new patients? Is it to stand out from the rest of the dental offices? Is it all the above?
Yep. Yes and yes. Well put there. It's exactly that. You want to stand out and differentiate yourself. It's really important to, who are you and why would somebody choose you? And digital marketing, going back to kind of the very basis of it, you've got a two-sided coin there. And the first side is, can people even find you? So once, how are you getting found? And that's where creating content that talks about your services and the areas you service and, geographic areas as well as, areas of expertise. But then also, once they have found you, why would they choose you? So it educates patients and kind of shows off that Google EAT acronym of I'm an expert in what I do. I have authority and credentials in what I do, as well as people trust me as a valuable source of information, as well as a valuable provider and a trustworthy provider of the services that I'm talking about.
And ultimately, you need them to find you, and then when they do find you, feel like that you are a dentist that they could know, like, and trust, and pick up the phone and call to make an appointment. Correct?
That's exactly it. And I think we see it all too often that there's almost a commoditization around the services, especially preventative dentistry and things like that, where we want to get away from the theory of I'm just like everybody else and I have the same information of everybody else, but really create, again, that valuable content and show your personality off and your brand and who you are. That'll really help you stand apart. And like I said, now you're getting found because the content will talk about, optimizing it to get found, but then also to make sure that you have something there original to offer that would make people want to choose you and be their provider. And, as you're building all of these elements of trust, it's just going to help down the road in terms of them actually showing up for those appointments and following treatment plans and all of these important things that we want to accomplish from our marketing.
And can you talk about SEO? What exactly what does SEO stand for, and
Yep.
the types of SEO friendly content?
Absolutely. So SEO is search engine optimization is the acronym. So I'm sure everybody listening has heard at least the acronym or has had people spam them incredibly high amounts of time in their inbox asking like, "Hey, we can improve your SEO and your search engine optimization and that and all this stuff," right? So I'm sure you've been inundated with it, but what it breaks down to is your content, is your site from a technical and an artistic side of things, with we're talking about, the Olympics have just happened here and the gymnastics, they score them on a technical and an artistic score in some of the events, right? So we want to talk about not just is your site technically sound, but does it have that artistic element to it as well in terms of the content and the branding and everything we're talking about that is going to make Google stand up and take notice and put you at the front of the line in the organic ranking. So that means when somebody goes into Google and types a service like implants near me or, emergency dentist now or whatever it is, something along those lines, are you the first name that organically comes up? And what that means is that you get trust from people because Google's pre-vetted all of these sites. That's why we go to Google. We know we don't have to go to page 9 to find something randomly. It's at the top of page 1. They've done the vetting for us. And then also by being there, they have intent. They're looking specifically for that. So it's your ideal patient in the moment looking for somebody with that built-in trust that Google provides. That's why Google's, the machine that they are. So we want to make sure we create that content. And you mentioned, kind of what kind of content that is. And that is again, the just even the information on every page, your services page, the about us page, your home page, credentialing it properly. Do you have things like your years of experience, number of patients seen, areas service, things like that. But then blog posts, videos, patient testimonials, putting all of those on display to showcase that you're an expert in what you do and people trust you to do the service that you are that they're searching for.
Yeah, I personally rarely, when I'm searching something, go past the first page of Google. Occasionally, I'll go to the second page. But when there's 20,000 O's in the Google, and by the time you've hit page 9, it all ends bad. Everything leads to cancer when you keep going to through Google. Just it never ends up good. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I usually stick to the first page of the organic search results. Now, what are some types of SEO friendly content that dentists can do? And you mentioned blog posts, videos, patient testimonials. Is that what is that what Google's looking for?
That is a lot of it. And, I want to touch a little bit more on what you said there about you're that person that doesn't go to page 2. Most often the people that go to page 2 is they're looking for a specific name of something, of a service, but they don't know who it is, right? So they put in their best guess and then they scroll through until they find it. That's the most often of when people are going to page 2. 95% of the traffic sticks to page 1, right? So that means that 5% of all websites out there are getting 95% of the traffic. So that's that thing, if you've got 20 competitors, right? So it's you and 19 others. One of you is getting 95% of the traffic on a topic that Google is pushing forward. So, like you said, it's incredibly important to be on page 1. And what kind of content is that? Well, as you mentioned, blogs, videos, patient testimonials, things like that. Google, think of your website as a living, breathing thing. So you have to feed it, you have to nurture it, you have to change it, you have to help it to continue to grow. We have people that we have started working with that have 20 pages at launch. They're well over 100 pages now on their website. So we're constantly building new content for them and sub content for them where maybe it's implants and then maybe it's like specific types of implants all on for whatever it is, or maybe it's implants for a subsection of people, right? Where as people we're that instantaneous gratification society, we want it now, we want it spoon fed to us for exactly what we're looking for. So what that means is coming up with this great SEO laden content like blog posts. So what are the questions people are asking? What do you hear a lot of? What is trending out there in terms of topics in the industry? And how can you address them in a first person way to showcase your expertise in an original way and bring your brand forward? Videos, crucial, right? Video is the queen, the king of content right now. That's what we all do, right? Instagram was a photo source, and now it's really much more of a video platform. Elon Musk said he was going to take X when he took over Twitter and make it a video first platform.
Yeah, you mentioned blog posts, and you're so right about if you're trying to get new patients, then choose a topic that a potential patient might be interested in, right? Like, what type of toothpaste should I use, or what's a veneer versus a crown? Patients aren't going to be looking for, what composite to use to fill your screw retained crowns in with. So keep your blog posts topic relevant, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I love that. And it doesn't need to always be, like you said, what toothpaste should I use? You're not selling a specific brand of toothpaste and compare what somebody might be looking for with the alternative solution you offer, right? So I hear that a lot of times in terms of like sedation dentistry or holistic dentistry or all sorts of different things where it's like, well, I don't offer that, but people are asking about it. Great. So write a blog about what is it? What do you do? What are some alternatives to it? And that gives people a great opportunity to kind of compare and contrast and also learn about you and your style and all of that sort of a thing. So I think that's absolutely it. Just be a good listener, listen to what patients are talking about, listen to, great podcasts like this where what are the topics on here that people want to hear and people want to share about and what's happening in the industry, and just use that as a great platform to be able to and show off that you're again. I love your comment about that. It's about your audience, so you don't have to come out with how smart you are and show off that you're the smartest person on the site, smartest person in the room, kind of comparison there, but necessarily just what do you want people to know and how do they absorb that content? So explain it to them like you would somebody completely outside the industry who is never, who's looking at implants for the first time, right? How would you have that conversation? And then that's how you're going to write about it from that standpoint.
And what's the key in making a blog post SEO friendly?
Yeah. So again, you've got to have it. So you want to have at least 400 words on the topic. You don't want to have it too short. You want to have it so it's all original content. We're all excited by what Chat GPT can do and things like that. It's a great idea to be able to get an idea for a blog post or something along those lines, but don't cut and paste it. All it does is scrape other sources anyway. So you're going to trigger that, and Google's not going to like that, and you're going to get knocked down on the SEO rankings and kind of buried. And just if you want to, if you're working with the company, they're going to use like what we do. We use a keyword generator tool to understand how are people searching, what are the search terms people are coming up with, what's trending right now. You can get those online as well. You can go and just use a keyword generator tool to understand, what people are searching around crowns or around, emergency dentistry or around pediatric dentistry or whatever it is, to be able to see, hey, great, this is what kind of relates to that topic. I'm going to use this, and then use as many of those keywords as you can, but organically. Don't just jam them in there out of place and make it sound like it's written for Google. But you also want to make sure that you're not just bypassing the important keywords.
Yeah, I think a blog post can be super powerful. Make it organic, make it with some good content. You're explaining something to patients in lay terms. You can put it on your website. You can link it. Send patients an email if they have a question about a certain topic. There's so many things you can do with it. And oh yeah, by the way, it helps with SEO for new patients to find you. So
Right.
it's such a great and not that difficult thing to do. Now, tell me about videos and content marketing. What's the best way for a dentist to leverage videos?
Absolutely. So there's a few different videos that you can kind of do. The one that I always recommend is at least an introductory video to who you are. Let them hear your voice and see your face and see a little bit about your personality. It doesn't have to be long, but an introductory thing that should live on your website that is very easy for people to see. I also highly recommend things like everybody knows a real estate agent. Have them hook you up with whoever their photographer or videographer is. They're inexpensive, and get them to do a walkthrough as if you're selling your practice, right? So make it really easy in terms of that, and now you have a great tour of your practice and great photos and videos that you can post on your site from that standpoint. But again, from the SEO side, when we're talking about specific topics, keep them short and sweet. Talk about what's in it for them. Mention your expertise behind it, why you choose to do it, what types of patients it's ideal for, those types of things. and keep it organic. I always hear from people along the ideas of, well, I should, I got to hire a film crew to do this. You absolutely do not. Everybody's got one of these kicking around now. The iPhone and the Androids and everything else. They're all pretty much 4K. Tripod, ring light, and you in a chair and talk organically. It might take you a few shots at it, kind of idea, but people want to see who you are. They're not looking for, these blockbuster Hollywood production style with all these editing to it. They want to experience you and hear from you firsthand. So don't worry about the flubs. Don't worry if it doesn't look incredibly professional. And then just make sure with that video, you pair it again with some sort of keywords and tagging and things along those lines that is going to help you again get noticed in the SEO searches and tell people a little bit more from a very high level what it's about from a synopsis standpoint.
Yeah, and it's all content. It's content that you can use on the website, put on YouTube,
Yep.
enhance the SEO. What are you recommending if you're using YouTube versus like a TikTok? What are the differences in those platforms?
Yeah, and again, it's going to be things like time, right? YouTube tends to be a longer video. TikTok, you've got that attention span of a fruit fly, so you want to be nice and quick with them and sharp and kind of to the point, and much more along the lines of here's three things that you can learn about this, or here's five tips or two tips I have for you today, right? Keep it very simple. For things again like TikTok, it's got a short shelf life or anything like that. It's very short, so there aren't going to be these long lasting videos that are going to be part of a library, whereas your website, YouTube, things like that, that's your educational content where people are going to keep coming back and revisiting it and watching it over and over in terms of the content and things that are there. And it just gives you that ability to again kind of reuse those. And I love how you said that. We talk about this all the time. A 9-second video on your website or on YouTube can live for 30 seconds on Instagram or Twitter and can be broken into 8-second videos on TikTok or something like that. So the content can be kind of broken and used in the methodology that makes the most sense. But if you're going on, again, if you're going on TikTok and you're posting a 3-minute video of educating people about something, it's just going to miss the algorithm. People are going to swipe past it. You're not going to get any value out of that. Whereas if that were living on YouTube, people who are searching for that topic, again, they have intent. So they're looking for something around that. They are going to dedicate the time to watching that video and learning and experiencing you. So it's important to kind of know your audience and know your platform from that perspective.
I love that idea of reaching out to a local real estate group because they're very experienced with touring through real estate and using drones and all those techniques. I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah, and they're pretty inexpensive. And I know a person who does it locally here. He's a great friend of mine. Does video production for sports, and he does that on the side, just kind of doing like, hey, I'll do some tours of again for real estate or business tours, and they really have a huge lasting impact. The idea of your website and the content on it is breaking down the barriers to entry. So when people meet you and see the office from the outside and the inside, they already feel like they know what they're walking into as a patient, right? They recognize the outside of the office, so they know where they're going. They recognize the inside of the office, so they're comfortable while they're waiting. They meet, you already, so they're comfortable when you come in and meet them for the first time with who they're going to interact with. There's no mystery there. There's no anxiety from that standpoint. So it's very important to put yourself on display and put your practice on display from that standpoint.
Yeah, we listen to phone calls, and when I hear patients or new patients call, they typically mention that they found us on Google. They went to our website, they checked us out, they went to the about us section, they checked out our social media, and then very important is they say they checked out our reviews. Tell us about the power of
Incredibly.
patient testimonials.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is again Google, their acronym for what they want to see. They've got 6 different real buckets that they want to see. Like, do you have quality backlinks? Do you have original content? Is your name, address, and phone number standard the same? There's a whole bunch of different things. How are your lighthouse technical scores? But one of those very key things is Google Eat again. So, are you an expert in what you do? Do you have your authority and credentials on display? So, any accreditations and any groups that you belong to. But then, are you trusted? How is your trustworthiness score? And that really comes down to those important Google reviews. And I think that's exactly it. I say this all the time. The best example I can give is, I don't care who it is, your best friend, your mother, your husband or wife, or whatever it is, they come home and they say, I know you better than anybody in the world. I have a restaurant you are going to absolutely love. And what's the first thing we do instinctively now is we go onto Google and we check out the reviews to see what the score actually is. And then we see what other strangers have to say about it, right? So it is just something that we naturally do now to kind of be like, hey, I trust you. I love you. I would give you, I know you give anything for you, but I kind of want to see what some bunch of people I've never met, never will meet say about this sushi restaurant before I actually step foot in there. Well, it's the same sort of thing, right? When somebody has two dental practices to choose between, and one has 16 reviews and one has 416 reviews, that's the power of social proof and that mentality that we have of one restaurant's got a line around the block and one restaurant has nobody sitting at the tables. We're going to wait in line unless we're starving because we go, well, that's got to be good. And that's probably not as good. So collecting those is incredibly important, but then you have to also put them on display on your website again, so that when people land there, they see them on each page. You've got a good carousel of them. And if you're collecting those really incredibly happy patients, and you know who those are, those type A personalities who just sing your praises, get a video of them or get a voiceover of them saying it, of why they love you and why they come and see you. If you do any pediatrics, kids are obviously amazing for this as well. They talk gibberish, right? They don't even need to be good videos from that standpoint. But as a parent, if I see other kids that are smiling at the dentist's office and talking, I'm like, oh, I want to watch all these videos, and I go down a rabbit hole of watching. Incredibly powerful in terms of being able to convert people again. The found part, now you've got that Google Eat you're feeding into, so you're getting found more often. But from the trusted part, from the why would I choose you, those patient testimonials are going to be absolutely massive in terms of helping to convince people they're making the right choice and that other people, hundreds of other people, have made that choice before.
And what strategies can dentists use to encourage patients to leave reviews or provide testimonials?
Ask for them. I know it's the hardest thing for some people to do, but you kind of have to get out there and ask for them. And with what we do, we offer a service where we text the link straight to the person that you've asked the review for, and we can see if they've left one or not and send reminders. There's different services like that, as simple as even, have a QR code at the front to say, had a great day, leave a review or something like that. But really asking for them, and, having somebody who is your Google review champion on your team, who, when they're leaving, not 3 days later, but when they're leaving, you can say, hey, I hope I understand you had a great service today. We would love to capture that in a review. I've got to get your invoice together, insurance taken care of, post-care kit, whatever it is, all put together. I'm going to need 2 minutes anyways. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review for us, it means the absolute world to us. And if you could mention who you saw, what service you had done, but most importantly, why you trust us and why other people should trust us, that's the most important thing, because there are people out there who don't know who to trust for the service that you just had, and your words can really help them. Really kind of helps them feel good about themselves. They're doing something great, not just for you, but for other people. We want to help naturally as human beings. That is a great way of doing it, but you got to ask for it and make it easy, right? If you say like, hey, would you mind leaving us a review? If you want to go and you Google our name, then you click on reviews and you write a review, you've lost it, right? Again, we've got a very small attention span, spoon feed it, make it easy for them, and they'll definitely be doing it.
Yeah, and catch them right when they're happy. You just gave them a great
Right.
experience. You're walking them out to the front desk. That's the best time to do it. Catch them in that moment and make it super easy. All right, so we've chatted. We've had some great ideas about content marketing, but what the most important thing is actually measurement and data and actually knowing if something that you're doing is working. You could have an idea that a marketing campaign is working, but unless you measure it, then you don't really know. What are some
Yeah.
key metrics that dentists should track to gauge the effectiveness of their content?
Absolutely. I mean, it's that anecdotal evidence is not going to be good enough. We don't want to have it where we ask somebody at the at the front, say, hey, anybody mentioning how we're doing, or did they come from our website? And they go, yeah, no, it's doing great. We're booking tons of appointments. Great. I wouldn't go to my daughters and say, hey, how'd you do in school? And she goes, I'm doing awesome. And I go, good enough for me, right? Like, I want to see a report card. I need to see the actual scores of how you're actually doing. So that's really what it comes down to is, get detailed reporting. Make sure you've got, again, this is something that we do is we provide very detailed reporting in terms of, how many times did you appear? What are you ranking for? How many clicks did you get? How many clicks for book appointments? How many clicks to call for mobile devices? All of these types of things, but collect that data and understand what's happening. And from the content standpoint, same thing, right? How many views does a video get? Are they watching it to the end of a video or are they stopping after 7 seconds, right? So you can really understand, is your content landing? Is it doing what's achieved? After they watch that video, are they booking an appointment or are they backing off and bouncing off your site, right? So really helps to kind of understand from that standpoint and see the growth in that, right? Like, it's going to happen where maybe at the start, you're not going to have these massive numbers. Not everything is a viral video, and we've got those kind of standards, but makes it so you can incrementally grow and you can see how things are going and you'll learn like what's resonating, what's not, what times are working, what's not, that kind of stuff. But you really need to measure that effectiveness and see, is it actually leading to anything important? Am I getting those clicks and calls? Do I have call recording where I can go back and see the conversion rate of the number of people calling versus appointments booked and things like that? And what is the impact of doing this content having with that? But I think it comes down to also, with the videos, with the blog posts, everything else, which we didn't talk about, is have a call to action, right? If you just have it there and you go, hey, here's some information and thanks very much, people don't know what to do next. But if you have a video that says, call us, here's how, or click the link or whatever it is, or to book a consultation to learn more, whatever it is, people are going to naturally follow through that. Again, you got to make it very easy for people to follow that journey and follow that path, or they're not going to, and they're just going to bounce back and go to the next person and find them and go, great, I should give them a call for this, right? So very important. But as you mentioned, you have to measure it. You have to know where you are now and where you're going with it, and see all of your views and your monthly impact. How many people are landing on each page and where they're going on their journey.
That's great. Ryan Davies, so much great stuff, so many great nuggets. What's the best way to find out more and get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, the best way is if you go to ekwa.com/MSM, you can book a time with myself or one of the other digital marketing advisors. We specialize in dentistry, so we're all great experts in this space, and be able to book a time, 30 minutes or 60 minutes. We'll sit down and we'll take what you're doing and make it granular for you, right? So you've spent the time, you're listening to podcasts, you're doing all the hard work behind the scenes. It's another little investment of your time, but it makes sense to say, hey, great, here's what's actually happening. Here's the numbers. Here's what we're seeing. Here's where you can improve. And we'll give you that roadmap to improve. And even if you just have any general questions or anything else, ekwa.com, you can contact me or any of our digital marketing advisors there. Happy to spend some time with you and help you on your journey to the top of Google.
That's great, Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again for listening to the Stress Free Dentist podcast. And don't hesitate to get in touch with me at info@thestressfreedentist.com. And if you haven't already, please subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Until the next episode, I'm Dr. Eric Block, the Stress Free Dentist.